Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. We have a Fender Squier Bullet Stratocaster. Now, these things are actually really cool. However, I got this at Long McQuaid today. This weekend was Jack's Attic Sale, they call it. It's a once a year kind of deal. It's been going on forever. They only used to ever hold it at one store in the whole chain. But for the last, I don't know how many years, they decided, hey, let's spread it through the whole chain and give everybody an advantage, right? And that actually works great. So this is where they take a lot of used gear, severely discounted even further. They take new stuff, a lot of it, and give you great deals as well on a lot of select new gear. Now this thing is currently on sale, brand new. It's normally $259.99. It's on sale for $229.99. I only paid $149.99 because it's also a used one. Now, for a used guitar, it's only got a couple little, light little scuffs, and like nothing that's coming, through the wood or anything. It's just light scratches, almost like, from playing it on your shirt, right? That kind of scratching. The whole guitar is actually in really great shape, though I did have to do a bit of a setup on it because somebody got the radius set wrong. According to the specs, it's 9.5, but according to my radius gauges, it's actually a 12, not a 9.5. So I think somebody had a misprint somewhere, but whatever. So I reset it, got it tweaked, because it was really badly buzzing, and now it's pretty clean. There's still a few spots, but they're not bad, but I think most of that is because it's over top of some poorly dressed frets. So I am going to eventually just redress the frets on this thing. And away we go, and we'll polish them up even nicer. But I did do a polish to get a lot of the stuff out of there. It was mostly down into this area here on a few strings. So the fretwork is generally, I would say overall, it was about maybe 90%. Fret ends are really good. Nothing sharp, nothing that's going to cut into me at all. They feel relatively good. They're not smooth as glass, but they're pretty nice. Okay. So it's nothing that you have to worry about. Tuners are good. These are the better tuners. If you remember Bullets of the past, they were garbage. I mean, I wouldn't even give you a nickel for one of those things. And trust me, I had a few, and yeah, they were definitely junk. Tuners were the worst part of them all, but they had very poor fretwork because the Bullet is the bottom of the line after all. But I bought this for a purpose. I want to turn this thing into a traditional Strat, except for no whammy system. This is a hardtail, by the way, so great for beginners. You don't have to worry about a whammy bar whacking you out of tune every 5 seconds, and dealing with that frustration in life. So it's a hardtail, so it won't be fully traditional, I get it, but I did buy a Bullet pickguard, which they had in stock. The only problem is, it ain't going to fit this guitar. This is for the original Bullet series, not the new series. So, oh well, big deal. I'll give it away to somebody or use it on something. Maybe I'll find an older Bullet and use it. Who knows? But I checked the fit on it, and yeah. So it turns out that these new plates are actually identical to the new version Affinities and the Mexican Strats. So I can order even a Mexican Strat pickguard, and it'll just drop right in, and voila. So something to know and note, okay? If you're looking for Barts, don't look for a Bullet pickguard because that one ain't going to fit. There's not enough holes in it either. So, but yeah, it's just not going to fit. Not enough holes. Everything's not. It's just out of alignment bad. So, anyways, so that was kind of the purpose, because I have a purpose for my other Strat that does have a whammy bar. We're going to do a Hendrix conversion mod, and we're going to go full out and strip her down and paint her white, make it identical to one of Jimmy's first left-handed Strat. Well, left-handed conversions, we'll say, because Jimmy always converted right-handed guitars to lefty, right? And I used to do the same thing, because even back in that day, even I was not full of money, and and of course at the time I wasn't a good enough player that my parents would invest any money into a real left-handed guitar, though they were rare as it was then. Not as many choices, in other words, compared to today. Today we've got literally hundreds of thousands of choices for left-handed guitars compared to 40 years ago, so big difference. But anyway, I do like to play right-handed, and I need to learn right-handed, and I'm getting better at it. So, in the comments below, just, don't bug me about this, because I know I already suck, so you don't have to tell me. Anyway, do a bit of playing, we'll talk some more about this. So that's the bridge. Now this is an HSS configuration as well, by the way. Buzzing is actually me because, you know, I suck at this. So I like the sound of this, at least through the Vox DA15 amp that we're running through, which is a modeling amp. And I've already bypassed everything except for reverb I left on, and it's on a clean channel. So let's throw some dirt at this puppy and see how the pickups do. Now, it is getting later at night, so I gotta kind of have respect for the upstairs people. More. Alright. I did warn you that I'm not that great at right-handed. I'm actually better on acoustic because it's a lot easier for me to strum. I'm still working on both that and electric. But anyways, so let's talk about this little puppy. For the 150 bucks I paid, I mean, that was actually a really great deal. Now, I haven't pulled it apart to check the electronics, but I already know what's under these anyways. Generally, the electronics are not too shabby in these things. I mean, they're not top end or anything, but they're decent. I've never had a problem with pots on any of the lower end guitars. Jacks are something that, you know, I would put in a $4.10 Switchcraft jack, and you're good for the next 300 years or more. These jacks are actually usually not that great. This one is actually fairly good in this guitar, so I'm going to leave it alone for a while. The switch on this is functioning without any problem. I did actually shoot some Deoxit 5 in it because at first it was kind of a little, I don't know, weird. So I threw some Deoxit 5 down the hole and, you know, run her back and forth and clean all the contacts nice. It's working absolutely perfect. So, you know, somebody did have this for a little bit at least anyways. I mean, it does kind of show there's a little bit of rust on these two pulls here on the humbucker, but that could have been there from the factory for all we know because the rest of them are clean. So that's not a problem. I like the black finish, although I wasn't particularly caring about color, and When it comes to right-handed stuff, I kind of care, but I kind of don't. In this case, I thought, great, hardtail, love it. Black and white mix, love it. I'm going to go for a custom pick guard with this, so something that goes with the black to suit my taste at least. And it's going to be cool. I've been looking at stuff, don't worry. Overall, I mean, the medium frets are really nice, but they do have some scratchy, rough spots, which will cause buzzing no matter what, and it can cause some fretted or dead spots when you're going to try and bend like a note up, but I'm not that great at bending right now. But I am going to give this fretboard a complete going over, you know, like I said, clean up the frets really, really nice. I gave them a basic polish so far, and that did help a lot, as well as resetting the radius where it belongs. The intonation on this thing was, by the way, very much, well, as spot on as it gets. I mean, stringed instruments, you never get a perfect intonation, but this one is really severely close. Like, somebody really did work on trying to get this as precise as possible. So that's quite good. The tuners are all right. I have no problem with that. This model is crafted in Indonesia, and Indonesian guitars are generally really good. So I know I'm talking about a little bit of fret issues that I have. This is going to vary from one guitar to the next. No two guitars of the same model are the same. Even the sound is usually slightly off between them because of, you know, they don't get everything set exactly identical at the factory to factory specifications. Besides, pickups, that's your choice how you want to set heights and angles generally, okay? But where they have it set for what would be a normal factory setup, they're actually pretty good. They got the humbucker a little on the low side. It could actually come up a little bit, but otherwise the neck and the middle are pretty much bang on for their heights where they're supposed to be. Because with that you got to go by the two center posts, because these are staggered poles, so you go by the center post at 5 millimeter, not the ends. Where the humbucker, it's all flat poles. You want it 5 millimeters straight across generally, and that's like would be like a factory setup. But like I said, it's your option, right? But even for the price of $260, these are great beginner guitars. They may even last you well into your intermediate playing as well. It's kind of up to you. It's not an overly heavy guitar. I would probably guess somewhere around 4.5 pounds without actually weighing it, but I'll probably do that later on at a later date, and we'll actually discuss that further in. But yeah, since I've done a bit of a setup on this thing, it's fine. I'm pretty sure somebody at Long McQuaid, before they put this up for sale, threw some new strings on it, because looking at the wraps on it, and somebody used an over-under locking technique, and the strings are brand new, I would say that's what they did. I noticed they've done that on a few guitars that I saw on the used rack. They all had new strings on them, so that was like really great. So now the gauge on this thing is 942, by the way, from the factory. I'm going to copy and paste all the specs below, okay? I don't want to go through an hour video here. So if you want to know all the specs, the link will be there too for Long McQuaid as well. And if you didn't get to take advantage of the attic sale this weekend, you still might, because I think they do extend it for some stores that are open on Sundays, because not all Long McQuaids are Sundays. So check your local area and see if they're still running their attic sale for tomorrow, okay? But the store is closed for tonight, at least in Ontario. It's, you know, well after 9 o'clock, so I don't know what your time zone is. But even still, even if you don't live in Canada and you're looking for one of these things, they may be on sale right now, but even at $259 Canadian, which is far less than the US, and on sale right now, like I said, $229 Canadian, that's still, both prices are really good. Used, $150. I mean, that's a great price all day long. There's a lot of guitar here for the money. You know, they've definitely upped the quality on the bullets, okay? So I can definitely say that they are something I would nowadays recommend, especially to beginners. And I consider myself to be a beginner when it comes to right-handed guitar. Although I do have one guitar that's very expensive in my collection for a righty, but that's only because my wife bought it for me. But otherwise, yeah, I've been a bit of a cheapskate on other stuff for to a certain point anyways. I still like to buy a decent quality instrument that plays and sounds good, and this one does. It's almost a shame that I have to take this from an HSS to a SSS, but I don't know. It's kind of a really tough call at this point. But I definitely am going to change the pickguard regardless, because yeah, this whole, you know, single layer white thing and just white on black, it's kind of really, doesn't really thrill me. I want something more classier, you know what I mean? Besides, they don't cost that much for pickguards anyhow. But yeah, overall I think as far as handling clean, it's definitely clean. Distortion it handles, you know, decently well enough, especially the humbucker. I had a 70 Strat, if you remember, it's on my channel. I really wasn't overly impressed with that particular humbucker that they threw in there. It really didn't turn my crank. This one actually is really nice, and yet this is a far cheaper guitar. So it's kind of like, well, you win some, you lose some, I guess. It depends on what happens in the factory, who throws what in the guitars nowadays, I guess. But they did all right with this one. So that was pretty impressive. But anyway, I would score this in general. I would probably say somewhere around the neighborhood of an easy solid 4 out of 5 for this one. Okay, I can't say it about everyone because you may get one that's got even better fretwork or something. But I mean, it's also a used guitar, but I'm not looking at the used aspect. I'm looking at, this is the model, this is what it is. I don't care what it cost me, but this is what I found on the guitar, even right out of the factory with some of the fretwork, you know, which I think was pretty poorly done in some areas on the board. And definitely that radius was right whack, so I don't know if somebody else screwed with it or if they just set it wrong at the factory. But this neck is a 12. It's not no 9.5, you know. And because you can definitely tell when you're using a radius tool if you know how to use them right. And this one came out as a 12. But anyway, who knows? Maybe it's a fluke that it came as a 12. Maybe it is supposed to be 9.5. Who knows? I don't care. But 4 out of 5 is where I have with it. I do recommend it, especially for beginners. The hardtail is the benefit. You know, and the majority of Strat owners anyways, they deck their bridges and they just rip off their whammy bars because they know it's nothing but a headache with the Stratocaster whammy system, whether it's a 6 screw system or the floating 2-pin system. Doesn't matter, you lock it down, don't use the whammy, and the things will actually stay in tune. This at least guarantees it will. Anyway, well, I can't say it guarantees it, okay? It can still fall out of tune. They all do when you play. Anyway, so overall, I say it's a win-win, okay? I'm happy with it. I think, you know, you'd probably be happy if you're a beginner or even an intermediate player, maybe pick one up as a mod guitar. It is a good modding platform because they are inexpensive. So if you're looking for a mod job guitar, take a look at one of these too. But anyway, that's it. I'm pretty much out here. Now, I've got other gear I'm going to be demoing. Not today, though, because it is getting late, like I said. Because I did get quite the good score this weekend of goodies. So stay tuned for those videos as well. I'm going to see what I can do for tomorrow after I get home from church. And we'll demo some of that stuff for you guys. And we'll do it on a left-handed guitar. Anyways, thanks and see ya.